See, I don't know if this is funny to anybody but me, but I literally just had the biggest, fattest knees of all time. Now I sound like this. I sound like a prepubescent teen. Welcome to August. Hello, book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Mel, and today I bring you all the books that I want to read in the month of August, also known as my August TBR. I am super excited about this one. It is a rather short TBR compared to the other ones that I've put out in past months. I have a total of 11 books here with me. Not all are with me, but most are with me. Some of them are on their way, and they are also for secret videos. However, I'm only going to talk about 10 of them because there is one book that could potentially give away the video that I am making. Therefore, I am going to keep that book secret. So, all but one. This TBR is surprisingly enough also mostly fantasy, which I didn't expect this month's TBR to take this route. However, it's where we're at. I only have one contemporary and one romance, and I'm currently reading the romance. Aside that, everything else is fantasy. And there's also one lonely thriller slash horror on the list. And as you guys know, I tend to put a lot of books on my TBR. There's usually like 16 books, 20 books, just a million different books on my TBR because I like to have options. However, most of these are either buddy reads or books that I just really am in the mood to read. And the only reason why I'm putting this little amount of books, this small amount of books, I guess you could say, is because for the most part, these are all chunky books. I also have a 1,000 page book, which also contributes to this being as small as it is. So it's about to be a fun TBR. I hope you guys are ready to strap on that seatbelt and just get on with me with this ride because it's about to be a good one, a long one, and an interesting one. And before I jump into talking about all of the books that I'm planning to read in the month of August, I do need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Scentbird. And thank you so much to Past Me for letting me take over and talk about the sponsor of today's video, because not only is it a service that I've been using for years, like my mom and I literally got obsessed with Scentbird like at around 2016, 2017, but it's also something that I personally really love, which is perfume. And for those of you who are not familiar with Scentbird, it is basically a monthly fragrance subscription that truly gives you the opportunity to shop from over 600 brands. And the cool thing about Scentbird is that it is completely risk-free, so if you want to skip on any month, there are no penalties, and it allows you to choose one new designer fragrance every single month for just $16. So this right here, and we're also matching, again, happens every single time, but basically their presentation is this. It is a 30-day perfume supply so that you can try a fragrance before committing to a full size, because honestly, you guys, perfume is very expensive. And if you don't know how to narrow down your options, you can take Scentbird's fragrance quiz that will basically ask you a bunch of questions, and based on your answers, it will give you personalized recommendations on which fragrances to choose every single month. And for the 2 scents that I got this month, I'm actually super excited. The first one that I have with me, the one that I am matching with, is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. This is again one of my signature fragrances. Now, as for the notes of Light Blue, we've got lemon, apple, cedar, bamboo, and bluebell as well. For the next one, I do have a cologne, which is technically from the men's section of Cartier, but I absolutely love this one because it's again super woody. And this one is Declaration by Cartier. And the notes are cardamom, cedar, juniper, and oak moss. And besides the ones that I chose, Scentbird was also super kind and sent some others my way. And I'd have to say, out of all of them, the one that I am most excited about is the Pamela Roland one. It smells heavenly. The notes for this one are very different, and these ones are sparkling bergamot, pink peppercorn, roses, amber woods, and tonka bean. So this is a mix of both of them. It's like woody, but it's also floral. It's just got a bunch of elements that I really, really like. I think out of all of them, this is probably the most intricate in terms of scent. So if you are like me and you love your fragrances, I will be leaving a link at the top of my description, and you can use the code MEL to get 30% off your first order, which comes down to about $11 on your first month. So again, thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, let's go back to past Mel, and she'll show you everything that she's going to read in the month of August. A big thank you to future me for popping in and giving you guys the message from our sponsor, and let's get into the books that I'm planning to read this month. Like the boys would say, let's go! I always start these TBRs with letting you guys know what are my monthly buddy reads for Patreon, and the first one for the month of August is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. Now, as you can see by the tassel bookmark, I've already started it, and it's also going great. There's also tapping going. It's a great time. And this one is, I believe, like our first like thriller horror that we've picked. What have we picked before? Yeah, I think everything before this has been like historical fiction slash fantasy slash like romance. And this concept is super interesting to me. At first I thought it was like super original. Turns out that other authors have previously done something similar to this. However, matters not, because to me it's original, so I'll just take it and just flip it and say like it's original. But for this book, if you don't know what a final girl is, it is the final survivor of a horror story. Typically in horror movies, when you see slashers, everybody dies in the movie except for one person, and that is usually the final girl. So final girl support group. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So basically what we have here is a bunch of final girls that have survived different just terrifying moments, just disasters in their lives where they've had to go through very traumatic experiences. And so in order to cope with their traumas and their anxieties and whatever it is that they're dealing with mentally, they built this support group specifically for final girls, except that it now seems that a single individual, or I don't know if it's several individuals, but somebody is targeting the final girls and killing them off one by one. That is super interesting to me in terms of concept, because the way that I look at this is as if you grabbed Sydney from Scream and the characters from I Know What You Did Last Summer and literally every other famous slasher that came out in like the 70s, 80s, even now, like there's still slashers coming out now. It's as if you grabbed all of them and put them in a single room and just did what they do. I feel like it's a great concept, honestly, and I've never seen it, at least from the ones that I've heard now, seen it executed this way, so I hope that this delivers because it promises a lot. And then for our secondary book pick, I have a book that I have been putting off forever because I've just been super scared to read this and not love this as much as everybody else does, because that's usually what happens to me with a lot of series or just like books in general, where people hype it up for me and then I read it and then I hate it, and that is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. But it's time. We are reading this, and we are kind of reading this in read-along style, meaning that we are reading every book in the Dave Abad trilogy. So the first one we are reading in August, then the second one in September, and then the third and final one in October. So the hope and the goal is to get through all of them by the end of October. And all I know about this one is that we follow Nari, and she is a con woman in the streets of Cairo. She makes a living off of stealing things from other people. That is what she has done for a very long time, and one day she actually stumbles upon a jinn warrior, and then she learns that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and she learns that basically everything has consequences, and that is where she discovers the beautiful, magical, ethereal city of Dave Abad. And in this city, magic and danger runs high. It is called the City of Brass, very fitting for the title, and soon enough Nari will realize that she is more connected to this city than she thought, and that is where the story starts developing. Don't know anything else about this. I don't know if I should expect any romance. I don't know the stakes. I hope that they are very high. I know that people call this one of their favorite series. Typically everybody who reads these books ends up loving them, so I hope that I am in that same space by the end of this journey, but I am really excited to read this when the time is due this month. And then last but not least, as far as official buddy reads go for Patreon, again, it's the Le Fantasme pick. Did I say that right? Did I nail that? Just lie to me, okay? Just lie to me and say, Mel, you did great. Anyways, the pick for that book club is Where Dreams Descend by Janela Angeles, and first of all, you've got the really stunning cover, you've got incredible end papers, and then also you've got foiling on the hardcover. So it's just a great time overall in terms of design and composition for this book. Also pitched as a musical theater experience, which you guys know I'm there for. It is pitched as a Phantom of the Opera, which if you guys know what Phantom is about and how it goes, it is very messed up and the Phantom is a horrible person. However, that meets The Greatest Showman. You mix those two up and you've got, I guess, a magical circus and a lot of magic and maybe really horrible characters with morally great personalities but also really horrible personalities, just like a lot of messed up stuff. So I am really hoping a lot from this. And in this one we have a circus. It is called the Conquering Circus, and there is currently a competition going down inside it. And the only thing that is really against all of this competition's participants is the fact that magic is running backstage and doing its own wicked scheme. And as the stakes and the danger keep climbing and getting even crazier, we have three main characters that I will assume take the story away. I love the ending paragraph for this. It's just like, honestly, it's so good. You've got the star, which is Kalia. You've got the master, who's Jack, the magician, who is DeMarco. Little do they know, on a stage where love, lies, and illusion collide, nothing ever escapes the spotlight, especially in a game with no way out. Again, need I say more? Greatest Showman, Phantom of the Opera. The second book is also pitched as Phantom meets Hadestown, and that sounds equally messed up as it does just sad. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time with this one too. And now moving on to books that are not Patreon buddy reads, but I am still very much excited for. The first one that I have is From Look Up With Love by Mariana Zapata. I love matching with books, always do this unintentionally, it always ends up happening happening. You guys always point it out, and I love it. I love it every single time. And this one, the reason why I'm so excited is because when I was growing up, I still do. I haven't watched them in a minute, but I still love them. I love watching the cutting edge movies. You guys, if you're not familiar, we need to get on it, but they are basically movies where it's about ice skating and you have people who compete in pairs. And somehow in these movies, somebody always ends up having an accident, always ends up with an injury, and therefore they need to seek out another partner in order to fulfill that place and basically go to the Olympics or go to a national competition or go to a regional competition or just go to a championship and win gold. And who's the only person available? The one person that they hate the most in this world. And I love that trope. I don't know if that's a trope. I guess it would be in any other scenario. I particularly love it when it comes to sports. There's something so angsty and competitive and standoffish about it that I really love, because when they come to terms with the fact that the tension is really just sexual tension and that they really just need to get at it like bunnies in order to just like get it out, I love that. I love every second of it. I enjoy it so much. And this is exactly what this book is, because we have Ivan Lukov, who loses his partner for a year and he needs to seek out another one. And there's this girl who despises the hell out of him. Her name is Jasmine, and they basically need to come together and make it work even though they hate each other. It's a great time. I also have started this book and I'm already 30% in, but that is irrelevant to this video because it's still a TBR. Even though I am filming this, what day is today? On the 3rd, it's still a TBR. It's still what I'm reading, clearly. You guys would also be proud to know that I read Thunderhead last month after a year of reading Sci. So that in and out of itself is an accomplishment because it's been a year and I read it and I loved it. And now it's time to finish it out. So I am reading The Toll this month. I am scared shitless of reading this book, mainly because I've heard the most negative things about this book. People don't seem to love the way that the series wrapped up, the way that this book was executed, the route that it took. So I am really scared because I don't want this book to hinder the experience that I had with the previous two. And I just want this to be equally as good. Maybe it doesn't have to be a 5-star, but I'll settle for a 4. I'll settle for a 4. Just Mr. Schustermans. Just give it to me. Just give me a 4-star book. Especially after the route that Thunderhead took, I feel like we're about to enter such interesting territory, and territory that we have literally not navigated before in the series. And I think regardless of the route that it takes, I think I will like it. But I also don't want to build up too much expectation and hype around this book in case that I don't like it, because it is a possibility. However, if you don't know what Scythe is about, which is very possible, this series basically follows a world where humankind has kind of conquered every single issue that we face now. It has overcome overpopulation and hunger and death and literally war. Everything you could possibly imagine as like a negative thing that we deal with now, it doesn't exist in this world. So it is a utopia, it is a dystopian book, and they have developed this system to not only control overpopulation, but to also make sure that people die when the time is due, but not from natural causes. So the only people that can kill are called scythes, and they train for a long period of time. They prepare themselves physically and mentally to make sure that they are on par with what the job requires. And so we follow Sidra and Rowan as they enter their apprenticeship and they start learning the ins and outs of this world and how really this works, and how there is so much more disgusting action and motif behind the scenes. And it's really interesting in terms of the social commentary that it provides. I think Neil Schusterman really just weaves this in a way that it's not only gripping for the reader, but that it's also very reflective, where you can genuinely just have an existential crisis as you read and question everything that you know. It's genuinely fantastic. Jumping into contemporary territory, I do have Starfish by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and I'm actually really excited to read this. I think I've been itching towards a good cry with books, and I haven't quite gotten there yet. I did cry when I read Percy Jackson, but I haven't cried, like really sobbed my eyes out with anything lately, and I am still hunting for that book. I still want to cry reading something. God, please give it to me. It's the one thing I'm asking for. I just want to cry with one book. Doesn't have to be every book, just one. Maybe I'll cry with The Toll by how bad it is, if it's really as bad as people say. But I just want a good cry. That's all a girl wants. And in this book, we follow a character named Kiko, who's always had a really hard time saying what she really thinks. And especially with a mom who has provided her a half Japanese heritage, she's always made Kiko feel like she is less than, that she is not enough, both as a person and I guess as a person of color, based on what that this says. And the one thing that truly brings her peace and that truly makes her feel most at home is art. And she is dreaming to get into her ideal school, which is Prism. It is an art school. And then all of her dreams are kind of torn apart when she does not get in. But she instead gets this very curious opportunity. One of her childhood friends basically offers to sweep her off her feet and just make her tour different art schools and see if anything clicks. And in the midst of all of that, she will have a journey of self-discovery. Generally, from what I've heard, everybody who's read this book has cried. I don't know what's wrong with me if I don't, but something would be wrong. So yes, I'm really excited to read this. Every time that I read like the actual synopsis at the back, I always want to tear up for some reason. I just love contemporaries that deal with, I guess, like existential crises and finding yourself and finding your way, even though the world is hard and it's difficult and it's horrible. I think it just gives me a sense of reassurance that sometimes we all need, that like even if it's hard and the journey is not easy, that it'll all be okay in the end. So I'm hoping for a really beautiful story here. This is The Titan's Curse, which is the third book in the Percy Jackson series. As you guys would know, I read the first and second book last month. Was not expecting to read the second book. I am not complaining, however. I put the third one on my TBR. It is also very possible, depending on how my TBR goes this month, that I might finish out the whole series. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure about that one, but at the very least, I will be reading book 3. But if you don't know what Percy Jackson is about, we have a world where Greek mythology is very much a real thing, and we follow particularly Percy Jackson, who is a 12-year-old boy, and he's had a lot of difficulties with schools. He is constantly switching schools because his mom doesn't think that he's safe. He is seeing a lot of fantastical stuff that doesn't really seem to be real, but it very much is. And soon enough, he finds out that he is a demigod, and he needs to attend Camp Half-Blood, where other Half-Bloods train and learn about their heritage and basically become stronger both in body and mind and in prowess. And that's where the story goes. There's a lot of different adventures, and obviously there's an overarching plot to the entirety of the series. It is a 5-book series. It's great. It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, get on it. If you have read them, reread them. This is your public announcement service to read the books again. Don't be surprised by the next book that I'm reading, because again, I told you guys that this was primarily fantasy, and that is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I am both excited and intimidated to read this book because I know a lot of people love it. We'll see how this ends up going for me, but I have a lot of high hopes for this one because I know it's a lot of people's favorite book. And in this one, we have a time traveling story, which is very, very exciting in my opinion. I love time traveling. It's very, very cool. We have a modern day New York that is very much rid of magic. Every Magus's magic has been taken away and is kept in this big artifact situation, spell. I really don't know. I just know that it's kept away from magicians. And we have Esta, who is a very talented thief, and she has dedicated a lot of her life towards stealing magical items that will potentially take power away from, again, the very sinister order that has created the Brink, which is what takes magic away. And one day she will get this very important mission to go back in time and steal an ancient book that contains all of the secrets towards destroying the order. And that's all I know. It's a great time apparently. All of the books get chunkier as they go. You know I love me a good chunky book, but they still very much intimidate me, so we'll see how this journey goes. Are you ready for some madness? Because this is crazy. Hi. So first of all, this copy, let's talk about it because it's really beautiful. I think this is the 120,000th anniversary of this book. I really don't know what edition this is. I just know it's like the deluxe edition. This book's been out for like a long time, so I really don't know what edition this is. I just know it's a deluxe edition. It's really pretty. I feel like this is one of those books that look like it was made by like Illumicrate or like Fairy Loot or like one of these big book boxes. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. So if you're a fan, you probably already know this is out. So anyway, I am scared and excited and I don't know what to expect with this. I just know that it's a sci-fi. There's sand involved. Timothée Chalamet's in the movie. Zendaya's in the movie. The movie looks fantastic. It comes out in October and that's how they get you. That's how they get you because now everybody's gonna read the book who hasn't read it. So I'm reading Dune in August and I'm scared. But look at me go. I'm like a sci-fi epic fantasy reader now. Just girly thinks it's cute. Set on the desert planet Arrakis, Dune is the story of the boy Paul Atreides, heir to a noble family tasked with ruling an inhospitable world where the only thing of value is the spice melange, a drug capable of extending life and enhancing consciousness. Coveted across the known universe, melange is a prize worth killing for. When House Atreides is betrayed, the destruction of Paul's family will set the boy on a journey toward a destiny greater than he could have ever imagined. And as he evolves into the mysterious man known as Muad'Dib, he will bring to fruition humankind's most ancient and unattainable dream. It sounds really cool. I know that the book started out, and then because Frank Herbert passed away, I know his sons finished the series, so I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. I'll see if I'll continue with the series after reading Dune. I might do it, I might not do it. We'll see how I feel after reading this one, because I think there's like 6 books in the series. And then the last book that I'm gonna be talking about in this video. See, I'm reading this for a secret video. If you can guess what it is, you're more than welcome to down in the comments. However, you might not really guess what it is. There's also another book for a secret video that I am not gonna be talking about in this video. However, just know that I'm reading that book too. You'll know when you see it. You'll know when you see it. However, the last book I'm talking about, are you ready? I don't think you guys are ready. I'm reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Great! Woo! So I'm reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and I know what a lot of you are probably going to say. I know that people are probably going to say, read Mistborn first. Like, you were supposed to read Mistborn first. I can't for the purpose of said video. So I need to read Way of Kings for the specific video that I want to make, and I want to make this video. So I'm reading Way of Kings. And also, I was just really scared because I know everybody says like, dive into Mistborn first. And I checked Mr. Brandy Sandy's website. I was like, let's see what the man says. And he says that you can start with basically any book. They're all connected. He does recommend starting with Mistborn if you can, because all of the Cosmere is connected, or even starting with Elantris. Look at a girl well researched. However, you can technically start out with any of the books in any series. So you could start with Elantris or Mistborn or The Way of Kings. You know, you could start with whatever your heart desires. And it's not my heart. The secret video's heart, you'll know when you see it, desires to start with The Way of Kings. Anyway, I'm really scared because we're talking about an over 1,000 page book. And I also don't know what Way of Kings is about. I just know it's about the Cosmere, and it's the Stormlight Archive, and it's incredible, and people love the magic system, and smash that like button. And I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. My only experience with Sanderson books have been Skyward. It's literally the only experience I have. My copy of Way of Kings is obviously on the way, so I don't have it yet. But yes, that is where we're at. I am reading Way of Kings this month. I'll let you guys know how it goes when the time is due. You guys will see the video. And I'm gonna keep my knowledge to a bare minimum, because when I go into secret videos, I try not to look at synopses too much, so I don't go into anything with expectations. I can just go in blind. I can just dive into the video and do what I do. So I hope that you guys are excited. And those are all of the books that I plan to read in the month of August. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Again, a TBR shorter than what I typically tend to put out. Again, it's The Way of Kings. It's just that long book that really prevented me from putting on more in here. But I am a focused girl. I am a girl with a plan. I know how many pages I typically read a month. I know I can do it. I counted them all out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you guys are reading in the month of August. If you've read any of these books, also let me know down below. I am always super interested to see you guys' opinions on the books that I am about to read, to see if you guys liked them, if you maybe didn't love them, if there are any thoughts and opinions, obviously without spoilers. Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. Again, as well with everything that you're reading this month. If you reach the very end of the video, let's leave some circus emojis down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I am constantly putting out videos that I am sure you do not want to miss. And if you want more exclusive content from me, I do have a Patreon. We call ourselves the Citadel, and there is a bunch of stuff happening over there as well. We have our monthly book club, we have a Discord, we've got exclusive live streams and videos, early access to videos as well. We've got a lot of buddy reads happening. There's just a lot of fun always over on the Citadel. So if you do want to join us, I'll leave the link for that down below, as well as all of the links to my social media. You guys know where to find me. Again, thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget that you can check them out over at the top of the description box. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye guys.